Like I think she was talking.
That's just life. You know, that's
I
just
agree
life.
with you.
But
I agree
not
with you. I've been
arguing
married. I've
is
been married for
actually
10
death.
years and been with my husband for 15. We're college sweethearts. We've been through life. So that's why I feel like it's really important that people of our age and our generation, 20s, 30s, going into 40s, is that you or 50, early 50s, that you really realize like what is life really about? What is the purpose of it? Is it really to be by yourself and you know have climb whatever corporate ladder that you're trying to climb at that time, especially with women? We're so career driven and goal based now that people don't even want to be wives. They don't want to be mothers and they don't want to be about family. But when they realize that, it's going to be too late. It really is.
But
That's all I
Casey,
have to
even
say.
though I want to agree with you, the way you paint it, it just sounds terrible. You talking
What?
about life is when you 70. That ain't life. You about to die
No,
in a
I
few
said when
years.
you are, I said when you are 70, you're not having stupid fights with your spouse about all the things that people fight about. Like all the reasons why people divorce in their 20s and 30s and 40s, you're not having those same issues in your 70s as a married
But there's
couple,
a
is what I'm
reason why
saying.
we don't
But
have those
people
same
don't,
issues, because your kids are grown and you just an empty nester, and it's just you and the other person, and y'all both retired because y'all too old to work. It's no,
but
there's
but
no catalyst
people
there.
can endure that those frictions of life, like that's life, making
But
decisions, get
the
on the same
frictions of
page,
life is what makes
children,
life.
raising kids,
The
all that.
frictions of life is what makes life life. The ups and downs
Exactly,
of
people
life
don't
is
want to
what
deal with
makes
that.
life life. I don't
You're
want to
agreeing
just
with
sit.
me.
I
You're
don't want
agreeing
to
with me.
sit. I don't want to sit next to a person and we just sitting there staring at the wall. I want to have an
Exactly.
argument every now and then. I don't believe in. I don't want to argue, but
that's
I want to
that's
live
my
life. Is
point.
what I'm saying. I want to. I want
People
my
don't
kids
want
to.
any conflict when they get in relationships or when
I
they have
get. Hold
marriages.
on,
When it
Casey,
gets
Casey,
hard, they're
Casey, Casey,
divorcing.
Casey. I get what you're saying. Like I said, I
Understood.
want to agree with you,
I
but
think she was
all I'm saying is
like I think she was talking.
that's just life. You know,
That
that's
I
just
agree with
life.
you.
But
I agree
not
with you.
arguing
I've
is
been married for
actually
10
death.
years and been with my husband for 15. We're college sweethearts. We've been through life. And we
That's
could
all I'm
have
saying.
been we could have thrown in the towel multiple times because of immaturity, stupidity, conflict. But we literally had his parents, my parents, 43 years, 45 years
Mhm.
to see what is
It
down the like
looks like,
what does it
yeah.
look like? What does the end goal look like? What is life about? What is marriage really about? What does maturity look like? What
Mhm.
is hardship? All those situations we had so me and him were easier to get through even with
Cause
our
y'all
hard
seen it.
times because we've seen it and we know what's on the
Like
other
I said,
side
I'm
of it.
agreeing with you, but all I'm saying is the ups and downs, the arguments, all that other stuff. We're never going to be able to avoid that because that's just what life is. So I
But
don't
no,
want people thinking that just
mm-mm.
because you're arguing and things are not the way you wanted to be, you're sad or your life is terrible. No, that means you're actually living, and that's normal.
That's my you're saying my point that a lot of people don't want to feel that. They don't want to feel the frictions of life. So it's easier to not deal with anybody else and only deal with yourself. That's what women are choosing, that's what men are choosing because they don't want to be aggravated or annoyed or they don't want to deal with the person, you know what I'm saying? They don't want the melting of two metals. And the older you get married, my father always says this, the older you get married, you're metal. You're already hardened into habits, point of view, outlook on life. So the older you get, and that's established and is hardened into ingrained into who you are, you have to melt those two metals with another. You have to melt with another person, and it's going to be a lot harder the older you are.
That's a
I like
great
how
point.
you put that. I agree with you.
That's a
Mm-hmm.
great point, actually.
I like that one. That was tough. I like that.
That's
That
my
was hard. I
daddy.
like that.
He
Your
he
daddy,
he a
your daddy,
real
your
one.
daddy, your daddy knew what the hell he talking about for that one for sure.
For sure. And it makes sense because when you're younger, you don't have everything established. Like all you have is what your family has poured into you. And you're starting to establish, okay, I'm going to chew the meat and spit the bones, as they say, right? This is what I want from my family. This is what I want from, my grandparents or what I've been exposed to as a young person growing up. And then you get out into the world, you may go away from college, go away from your family from college, or you may go away to work. And so you have that, your foundation of life and foundation of the person you are, but then you build on that based on your own experiences, right? And the older you are, you building that foundation is no longer a foundation. You actually building a house on that, on who you are. So, or a wall. It could be a wall, because a lot of people say what they say, oh, I have a guard up with other people and it's hard to let the wall down, and it's hard to let my guard down with meeting people and loving somebody because I've been hurt and so the more older you get, the taller that wall is on top of that foundation of who you are. So another person has to not only break through that wall, but they also have to meet that foundation of everything that how you were raised, could be past traumas, all of that. So I think that's why here, on top of everything Fatty was talking about with social media, video games, movies, like across the world, people just don't want to get along and go through it with another person. They don't see the value in it. They see it as annoyance. From what I can see from my own personal observation,
Right.
they don't see it as worth it. But I'm a late mommy, Lapeef, y'all know, like I just had a baby. My son is 2 months, and our daughter is 2. Thank you. And then we have a 2-year-old daughter, and we had a miscarriage in between, right? Because we thought we had all the time in the world to have kids. We didn't even start trying until year 8. And so my duty as a woman who's been married for so long, and people get married like, oh no, we're not going to rush into kids. If you want family, you have to go for it. You have to go for it and jump for it, because you don't know what obstacles are in front of you. You don't know. People take for granted that things are going to just be easy. You don't know if you're going to be an issue for having children. You don't know if your husband is going to be an issue for having children. And then if you can get pregnant, you don't know. I know a woman that have had 6 miscarriages. You do not know. So to be so entitled with like, oh, I have time to play around in my 20s and play around in my early 30s, and I'll find somebody when I'm ready, I'll focus on my career. Life isn't promised to anybody. And so you have to go after life. And I feel like, just to wrap it up and land the plane and not to go on and on, people just, I think they just don't want to sacrifice, and they don't want to go through anything with another person. They don't feel it's worth it.
I appreciate your honesty, because like there's a lot of married people that don't like to share. They don't like to share the wisdom that, is being learned through the experiences of being married. It's a lot of just nonsense of, oh, well, we're just going to get divorced. And like you said, people don't want to or learn how to endure with things that are happening. That's the part of marriage. Not saying you got to go through not like crazy stuff, like, just natural stuff. You're going to have disagreements. It's okay. Go through the disagreement and then figure out a way to make it right. So I like that you're being honest on here and sharing to, everybody that's in the chat that this is what it is. And you seem very happy, very content. So I just want to say, appreciate your honesty.
Thank you, Lady Di. I really think my parents have always been honest with me and honest about what it requires to be married. And, the maturity that it requires. And I'm always around so many women. I was a professional dancer, so I've always been around women, like always cheerleading and dancing. And then I'm in a sorority, so I'm always around a lot of women, and then a lot of women that are younger than me. And so I think I would be doing a disservice as a person that has gone through things. If you don't try you should want better for your children. I want my daughter and my son to be better than me and my husband. I want them to go beyond all of my dreams. I want to help them and give them a platform to go beyond everything that we've ever done. And my parents feel the same way about us. It's 4 of us. I have 3 brothers. And I feel like it's intuitive. It's imperative for me to really do that with any woman that is in my surroundings or that I come in contact with, because people, just like on social media, they just see the outcome. They don't see what it takes to get there. They don't see with the mindset and the maturity that it takes to really make things happen and go forth in life. They only see the pictures and the portraits and the photo shoots,